all, she would have to be very smart because she just turned 5, so she doesn't read the blog. But if she did, I look at all of the stuff that I write and I think, how would I feel if my mom wrote it? And I thought, well, I would probably be embarrassed, but I was embarrassed of my mom anyway, and she didn't even have a blog. So, but now, my sister's actually, she came out and met me so that I would have a handler, and I said, I feel bad because I have this sex column, and it's satirical, it's funny, it's not like, horribly prurient, no, it is actually, but it's still funny. And so I thought, oh, this is, it's going to be fine. And I just keep thinking, like, how would I feel if later I read my grandmother's sex column and I was like, that'd be kick ass. Who wouldn't want to read their grandmother's sex column? I totally read that.
You scared me, Jennifer. So, can you just tell me, like, I read your blog, I read all the comments, and it's all these women just falling all over, loving you and all that. But you must get some hate mail. So can you tell us your best hate mail stories?
I do. I get my favorite. Actually, I have 2 favorites. One is one that I get all the time, which is "you're retarded," and they always spell "you're" wrong. It's Y-O-U-R. Every time. I'm like, really? This is comedy. And the second one was this woman that I'd never get repeat offenders. The first time you comment on my blog, I have to approve it, so I can always tell if it's somebody that's come back. And I'm very lucky that I've never had somebody that's come back again to leave a nasty comment, except for this one lady who I had written years ago about breastfeeding, and it was something about, I didn't even breastfeed, I'm like a shitty mom, but I'm like, good job other people who can, but I couldn't do it.
Other people?
Other women, not men.
That was a joke. It's other, U-D-D-E-R, forget it. You have to do it.
Yeah, that was a horrible joke. No.
It's not bad, huh?
It was... All the women in the audience were like, we've heard it before. But she wrote this thing like 2 years after the fact, and I basically said, women should be able to breastfeed, and she said something about, well, it's the same thing as a man whipping out his penis and and feeding a child with that. And so I went back and I saw it, and I know, and I was like, you know what? I agree. I'm completely against men feeding children with their penises. We should be friends. And then she wrote back again with a different name but same IP address, and I'm like, hello, dumbass. And she was like, I can't believe this is completely ridiculous. So I wrote back and said, well, this entry is actually 2 years old, so if you're going to yell at me, why don't you come up and yell at me about, I'm talking about how the Pope is a cannibal and eats kittens, why don't you go up there and people will actually appreciate you. And she said, well, if this is 2 years old, why is it still on the internet? And I was like, you win, lady, you win. I have absolutely no answer for that.
Was it an IP address from Texas, do you think?
It was California.
California?
California.
Southern California.
It was you!
Southern California. It was not, it was Kevin.
It probably, Kevin, how could you?
I'm originally from San Francisco, guy.
Oh.
I'm a Northern California guy.
All right.
Yeah, but where's your IP address?
Yeah. How do you feel about men feeding babies with their penis?
Well, speaking of the Catholic Church, oh, yes, I did.
Oh, that's it?
No, a few bad priests should not spoil the entire religion. I didn't mean to suggest that, but
oh my God!
I think
I can't believe I'm shooting this.
What you share about your so-called comment page and your reviewers is pretty insightful in terms of the kind of people who go out of their way to try to make a statement about what you're doing, and while missing the whole point of what you're doing 100%. That's impressive.
Exactly, but those people to me are so entertaining.
Oh God!
I love those people. Those are the funniest people, and to fuck with them and just get, and I continued the entire time. I was like, oh my God, I totally agree with you. We should have a vacation together. It was this long, and then I felt like really bad because it was just me and her going back and forth, and she was like, you're so stupid, you don't understand. And so I went on Twitter and I was like, you guys, this woman is all alone. Somebody, like, come back. I know this is 2 years old, but come read this and someone, like, be on her side. I feel bad for her. You gotta support the bully, you know? You gotta support the little person, even if that person's against you. You gotta be like, yeah, exactly.
But you know that what you're doing is vital, and people are watching it. If you get people like that, you want to have people like that, even though, well, they are entertaining. But really, like, if people stopped doing that to us, we'd be like, wow, no one's watching our videos anymore because you know you're doing something right if you get people like that. I think is the deal.
That's the deal with trolls also. I was very, you know, only recently found this out, that unless you have, we'll get them during the live show in the chat room. If you don't get trolls, then you're not successful at all, because they only prey on successful, you know, sites and whatnot.
Exactly. I actually I made a button that said something like, you know, Hemingway never got comments either, and it worked out for him, and several other, you know, comment and troll buttons. And I was surprised at how many people were like, yeah, all right, I own this, okay. And I think just being able to say, you know what, it's okay to be hated occasionally. That's, like, celebrate the hatred. It's fine. It's fine. Somebody hates every single one of you, and Jesus loves you, but that's what you should take away from this keynote. Someone hates you, but Jesus still loves you. Probably, unless you're Jewish and he doesn't like you at all. But I like you.
Can you just?
I'm so sorry.
Can you
Never
just
apologize for being funny.
Yeah. Can you just fill in this audience about your methodology of blogging? I mean, do you, like, when you decide you need to blog something, how do you prepare yourself? What's the procedure you use to blog?
I'm usually on a lot of drugs, or I'm drunk, and
What kind of drugs?
Xanax. My drug of choice. I actually offered some to Kevin because I was like, everybody was like, if you're meeting someone famous, you should offer them drugs. And he was like, no, I'm set. So that was good. Yay, I win. But no, I typically.
You never offered us any Xanax.
Well, I figured you had handlers back there, for God's sakes. You have people
They don't
holding
have
your
any
own
Xanax.
I swear to God, I have Xanax backstage with your name on it.
Okay, we'll talk later.
Okay, awesome. We will mix it with the wine. There'll be some sort of, like, mass death here. This will be awesome. This is gonna be the best keynote ever. People really did die.
You should get Xanax to sponsor you.
I seriously have approached them. They will not touch me. They will not touch me.
I don't know why.
I know, isn't that weird? They, like, really, I mean, I have my sex company. That's really it. Like, the sex company's like, we love you. Let us send you a dildo. I'm like, I'd like a 20. Please send me a bucket of cash. That's what I really like. They're starting to get it. But
I think if you went on eBay and said, this is Jenny the Bloggess's dildo, there would be a bidding frenzy.
I don't want to know
Just
how
to
much
think
that would go for.
that their body fluids might mix with yours.
Whoever has the wine bottle, that's got some DNA on it, I'm sure. So you can sell that. Oh, there it is in the back. We should put it up, like, for sale
The
for
wine bottle
leukemia.
made it to the back. Yeah!
All right.
That's impressive.
That's community.
That's disease.
The Center for Disease Control is going to trace the swine flu epidemic to this.
This place is a petri dish.
Of awesomeness.
I hear you're going to Japan?
I'm going to be a Japanese sex correspondent.
You're what?
I'm going to be a Japanese sex correspondent. I really am. My sex company is sponsoring me to go to Japan and
Do what?
I'm just gonna write about sex. Apparently, I just show up and sex happens. Is what. That's what.